That is awesome, dude. Look how red he is. That's real animal style right there.
Look at that.
That is a day maker, baby. Oh, look at that.
Rio Animals, presented by Contender Boats.
Today I'm fishing my home waters. I'm on Tampa Bay and fishing with a really, really good friend of mine, one of my closest friends on the water, Captain Ryan Rickard. And it takes a lot. It really takes a lot. It takes a special kind of scenario for me to want to get out of my 25 Contender and get in the water. But it's that time of year. Everything's kind of set up perfect. We got a low tide, incoming water. Could be really, really spectacular doing a little wade fishing on Tampa Bay. You know, fishing an estuary like Tampa Bay, they get so much fishing pressure on these wintertime lows. The fish kind of congregate in the potholes, gives you an opportunity to kind of sneak up on those fish real quiet. Water's very, very clean this time of year. So stealth, being able to sneak up on them turns out to be really, really a great advantage for the anglers. A lot of great fishing can be done, especially this time of year on these negative lows, if you get out of the boat and do a little wade fishing. Hey gang, today I'm fishing my home waters. I'm on Tampa Bay here, beautiful Tampa, Florida. My good friend Captain Ryan Rickard. We're gonna do something we don't do very often. We're gonna go get wet. We're putting the waders on. We're gonna get skinny, see if we can't get some of these redfish to go, huh?
Hopefully so. It's been a little bit of an interesting bite recently, but we've been able to stick a few fish, some sight casting opportunities as well, and I think they'll cooperate today. We shed the right tide, and bluebird skies, once that moon drops, we'll be all right.
Get a little skinny, go catch them up. It's really cool for me because it takes me completely out of my comfort zone. It's not something I normally do. You know, my guided trips and all that, we're always in the boat. Myself, 98% of the time, I'm in a boat fishing. So it's different for me. It puts me kind of in touch with the fish a little bit in a different way. And it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy these mornings, even though I only get to do it once or twice a year. I don't remember the last time I saw it this low. I think they'll be in this hole in the back. I mean, there's no water on the edges, on either edge here. They got to be pushed into one of those deep holes.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be holding in a depression or a hole. And really, I mean, what I'm liking as we're coming in here, and I know I talk about this a lot anytime I talk about them, but all these white egrets that are staged up, they're the same diet as a redfish. So they're eating on the same things that we're getting ready to go present, but all those redfish should be funneled in all these depressions and potholes back in this back.
Water's 59 degrees. The water temp.
I have a very good feeling we're gonna have some pretty epic takes this morning.
Water temp's gonna be an issue. I like the afternoons better in the winter.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna have this low water this afternoon.
Right.
Low water concentrates the fish, so.
The chances of us seeing tailors right now are really high.
Yeah, they're really good. If
very,
we can find
very
them,
high.
Yeah, we can find the fish, there's a good chance they'll be in a happy place. Yeah, we're coming off kind of a crazy front here, and probably one of the biggest of the year here on the West Coast, and that can change things a little bit. You know, as we kind of touch the water with our hands, you could tell the water was cold, which is always a challenge here in Florida, as a lot of our fish get, just like us, they get comfortable in this climate. And when you get a big change like that, a big front in the winter, it can make the bite a little challenging. But Ryan and I were up to the task, and we were going to give it a shot. It is a beautiful day to do this, don't you think?
Absolutely gorgeous, man. You couldn't ask for much better conditions than this right here. Let's go stick a few.
I'm in.
Oh, there he is. Mike, throw behind me, Dang it, just short. A little trout, start the morning out. I literally stopped reeling that bait and dropped it right outside of this pothole. He barely hit it. My hand's wet here. Trying to death roll on me. Man, he's hooked odd. Little trout to start the morning. Hit very little. That fish is super cold, very cold. This water temperature is super cold. believe once it warms up a little bit, it'll get even better. Finally get one on the mark.
This time of year, you're always concentrating on cold water tolerant species. You know, fish that respond well to that cold water, like snook, for instance. Really a tough fish when water temps get really, really cold. They get really lethargic, don't need to feed much, don't eat much. Trout and redfish, on the other hand, very cold water tolerant. They all thrive all over the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, up into the Carolinas where it gets very cold, much colder than it does here in Florida. And a lot of times on these cold conditions, you can still get the redfish and the trout to eat.
Reel Animals is brought to you by Quantum Fishing Reels. Outsmart, outfish, outlast. Ray Marine, simply superior. Mirror Lure, turn on the bite. Ingle, high performance coolers.
When you're in a stretch like we've been here the last month or two, this winter has been really tough because every 3 or 4 days seems like we're getting another front. Maybe the winds will pick up, cold weather will roll in, and it changes things for the fish so much that it's really hard to set up a pattern. You know, in the springtime, that bite will stay the same for a week, maybe 7 or 8, 9 days. In the wintertime with these fronts, that bite changes every couple of days. You really got to pay attention to the details to stay on your bite.
This feels like a better fish here.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it feels better.
He thinks he's somebody.
It's a little better fish. Fish ain't bad, probably an 18, 19 incher.
It's a good trout.
18 or 19 inches.
Yeah, you bet.
Fun to catch on artificial any day of the week.
Great fish. It took a little while, maybe an hour of kind of wandering around from hole to hole, and then all of a sudden it was like a light switch just went off. And just in a flurry, almost every cast, every other cast was a nice, beautiful trout. I think they just wanted this water to come up a little. Another nice fish. Oh yeah, baby. Tough to beat the marsh minnow in molting. You know, there's a little thing that a lot of people follow called the salooner tables. And Captain Ryan Rickard, always paying attention to the details, was wondering if we didn't have some kind of salooner bite right there, you know, a prime feeding time right there when that bite turned on, because it was kind of crazy. It turned on and 15, 20 minutes, a half hour of really crazy fishing, then it kind of slowed down again. And it was just kind of one of those days we were in that pattern where, you know, you had to kind of grind for your fish, you had to make a lot of casts. It was a rewarding day, but one we had to put our work in.
Got him. Trout. That trout was right next to that redfish, and that trout beat that red to the bait. There's got to be a couple dozen redfish right here in front of us. Get a release here.
That's the bonus to these low tides. You know, get yourself a pair of waders. You know, we fished holes today that you couldn't get to by boat. These wintertime tides are often negative lows, which means a lot of your bars and stuff are out of the water. Well, just inside of those bars where you can't get a boat, you'd have to drag your kayak in there, are potholes that offer a safety haven for these fish, and that's where those fish will concentrate, and the low tides actually congregate the fish, sometimes make it easier to catch them. So wade fishing is a great option for those days when you have these negative low tides.
Hey, did I
Fish
just hear
on.
you get hit?
Yeah, trout. Seems like through this little cut right here, it's just covered in trout. Yeah, bigger trout
Better
too.
fish there.
Nice fish. Nice trout. Look at that.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
good
a
trout.
good fish.
Yeah, it's a nice fish. Never really did the big old trout head shake thing, but it's got some shoulders on him.
He was staying down for a minute. I
Yeah,
thought for a minute it was something else.
I was hoping, but it ate it like a trout. And sure enough, it's a speckled trout. Wintertime candy, baby. That's a nice fish.
That's a
though.
very nice trout.
Real Animals is brought to you by South Seas Island Resort, Rolls Axle Trailers, built like no other, Lazy Days RV, exclusive RV partner of the Real Animals Fishing Show, Bull Bay Rods, combined with Fuji Guides for a difference that you can feel.
Tampa Bay offers some incredible fishing, you know, giant schools of redfish, great trout fishing, especially in the wintertime leading into the spring. The bite on big gator trout can be incredible. The snook fishing along our beaches is probably second to none on the west coast of Florida because we have so many great beaches here on Tampa Bay, so many great passes where those fish can pile in and get ready for their spawn. It's a very unique estuary, lots of opportunities for anglers. We've got great fishing piers here along the Skyway Fishing Bridge that just, it offers opportunity to every angler. Wade fishing from our beaches, boats, from the piers, from the bridges. It's a really, really incredible, often overlooked estuary.
That ain't no trout.
I was gonna say, that didn't sound like a trout drag.
That ain't no trout. No, maybe it is.
Is it?
I don't know, maybe. If it is, it's a good one. It is a trout.
It's a trout, wow. I thought
Man,
it
he
was,
hit like he was.
I thought it was
That's a red. It's a
oh,
small
it is a
red.
red.
It is
Yeah,
a red.
small, yeah. Here you go.
I'll say he sure hit like a red.
Want some help? It is a little red. Well, there's the target species. Second of the target species, anyway. Oh boy. Rhino, get us on the redfish docket here this morning.
Dude, there's a bunch of them here. I've seen a bunch, and a bunch bigger. Cool release.
Redfish on the docket.
Good release.
Oh boy. You know, wade fishing's a lot like kayak fishing. You know, it's a very affordable option to, you know, those guys that don't want to put up with a boat. I mean, let's face it, I love my 25 Contender, but boats are some extra work. They're an extra expense, and you know, not everybody can do that. For those anglers that just like to get out on the water and get away, wade fishing offers just as good an opportunity as any to do just that.
Oh, did you see that,
I
dude?
got rock, there he is. Oh yeah,
What you got there?
red dog, I think. Oh yeah, baby. Came right out of that little trough, dude.
I'm gonna go right in behind you because I swore I saw another flash. That bluefish, dude.
It looks like a bluefish.
There's 2 bluefish with him, too. Look at 10 bluefish with him.
It is.
Look at him. It's a jack.
No, it's a jack, it sure is. Ain't that weird? He lumped it. Did he not act like a redfish?
Dude, he sure did.
So skinny up here, I guess he just couldn't do his normal pattern. He was head bobbing a little bit like a jack, so that makes sense. Felt like a good redfish.
You need help?
I got it.
Good.
That is a fun fish to catch. Got the blood pumping good right there.
Real Animals Tip of the Week is brought to you by Gator Gems Tackle, not just another tackle store.
Hey gang, this week's tip of the week, I want to talk to you about my favorite lures, mirror lure. The company is absolutely fantastic. Eric Bachnick and the good people at Mirror have done a great job at coming out with baits for all kinds of situations. You know, I love to throw jigs, I love to throw out plastics, one of my favorite things to do. They've got you covered in a variety of sizes. The Little John, one of just an amazing bait, super tough, you can catch a lot of fish on these things, really just incredible bait. You know how much I love the marshmallow from Mirror Lure. Look at the action in that tail. Absolutely second to none. You know, if you like to throw your paddle tails out, just slowly retrieve them, let that tail give you all the action. The marshmallow, the obvious choice. But as you know, that's not the only thing they do. How about the Mirror Lure Mirrodine? Huh? Have you ever seen a bait put together that mimics a pilchard any better than this bait? I know that I haven't. This is a suspending twitch bait, runs just underneath the surface of the water, catches everything, snook, redfish, trout. When it comes to topwater baits, nobody in the industry does baits any better. This is their Pro CI series, got a rattle in it, makes a bunch of noise, comes in some great colors. It's a 4-inch topwater bait, perfect for all of our game fish here in shallow water, offshore, super tough hooks on it. Just really, really a great bait. They've got everything you need. Finesse baits, power baits, search baits, you name it. If you're looking for one lure to catch anything that swims in salt water, check out the great line from Mirror Lure.
Real Animals is brought to you by Maui Jim, color, clarity, detail. Plantation on Crystal River. Pro Marine, quality marine engine parts overnight. CCA Florida and CCA Florida Star Tournament. Closed captioning provided by Gator Ford. This week's Tackle Box is brought to you by Cleanse Oil, America's original cleaner, lubricant, and protectant.
Hey gang, this week's Real Animals adventure, Captain Ryan Rickard and I were throwing the new Bull Bay Assault Series. This is a 7-foot rod, really a great rod for wade fishing, getting skinny like we were doing today, making a lot of casts. This is a 8 to 17 pound rod. We consider it kind of medium heavy. Again, fast action tip, which is kind of what you always want when you're throwing artificials. It's got a 10-pound braided line on it. We're using 20 and 25-pound fluorocarbon leader. And what we were using Mirror Lure marshmallow paddle tails here. It's a great bait, but what we were doing, because we were fishing so shallow on that negative low tide, we were rigging them with weedless weighted bass hooks so we could kind of crawl them across some of those shadows and through those potholes on the flat. Again, on this 7-foot Bull Bay rod, we matched it up with the Quantum Smoke 30 PT spinning reel. Excellent saltwater corrosion protection. Really important if you're going to do some wade fishing, because there's always a good chance you're going to get some salt water on your rod or on your reel and your rod, as a matter of fact, when you're wade fishing like that. But you know, you get a big fish on and then you're wrestling to get him off that close to the water. A lot of times these reels will end up immersed in salt water. That saltwater corrosion protection, really important. Quantum brings that in all of their reels, their entire line, so that's always a good safety measure for you to keep in your pocket. This is all you need. This assault rod, the Quantum reel, the marshmallows, to do exactly what we did today. Find them at a retailer near you. One of the great indicators here on the west coast of Florida, and especially here in the Tampa Bay estuary, is mullet. And we walked up on just a giant school of mullet, and that's a great indicator of game fish probably in that area. As the mullet are bottom feeders, they root around in the grass and they kick up all the crustaceans, the small crabs and the shrimp. They make for easy feeding and great cover from prey for the redfish, the trout, and the snook when the time of the year is right. You know the redfish, dog?
No, it's trout, I think. It might be a red, I don't know.
Like a little redfish.
That's a red?
Yep, little red dog. Oh boy, right out of those mullet. Textbook.
We found a big, huge school of mullet, the exact size mullet we want. There's a big 1 to 1.5 foot mullet just milling around, and we kept, you know, it's really cool to see these fish in our region because we had a really tough couple years for redfish, and to see all these smaller fish show back up is really encouraging for our future. And I've been hearing a lot of these fish
We've
being
seen them in a
caught.
lot of places too, on dock lines,
Yeah.
on the flats, all over the place. So
Yeah.
it's been a great day on the water. We jumped back in the boat, got out of our waders, and tried to work one more shoreline just to kind of wrap up our day and see if we couldn't put a big gator trout in the boat. What you got, son?
Don't know.
Nice trout.
Not a bad trout
Oh,
right
that's
there,
a good
dude.
trout, dude.
Will you
Really
take this
nice.
trolling motor remote and just
I got it.
fix it? That's all right.
Set the power pole.
That's a pretty
That's
decent.
a
Oh, look at
really
look at that stud trout right there. Look
Wow,
at him. Look at him.
at that. Jeez, that's a big trout right there. Here, I'll help you. That's a 20+ inch fish, cowboy. That's a day maker right there. That bait. Inhaled it.
Stud trout.
That was a dandy. Come on, Bessie. Give me a little love. There you go. Look at that bad boy there. Woo!
That's a great fish.
That's a really
man.
nice fish.
What's that? 22, 23?
Yeah. That's a day maker right there, buddy. Attaboy. You know, it doesn't get much better to me when you can spend a day on some of your favorite waters with a really, really good friend, catching some fish. Everything went really, really well. Totally relaxed. Great real animals adventure today with one of my very favorite friends, Captain Ryan Rickard.